this weekend, we get Seattle at Jacksonville. Seattle's on the road, yet they are a 1.5-point favorite. They've been historically very good on the road under Mike McDonald. But this Jacksonville team been playing really well. They're 4-0, looking to go 5-0 for the first time since 1999, Sean. That is a long time. Although I'm not sure we can say anything better about the Bears being. Have they been 5-1 ever? not in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time they were 5-1. Maybe they've ripped off 3 in a row here and there, but 5-1, I can't remember for sure. But yeah, massive game.
I don't think so. But this one's going to be good. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, the game-winning touchdown, falling down twice to beat the Chiefs last week. Finally, you have Brian Thomas Jr. coming alive a little bit more as one of their go-to wide receivers. It's a tough travel spot for the Seahawks. Coming off that loss last week, kind of a brutal loss to the Buccaneers. I mean, Seattle was in that game the entire time. Tampa Bay just does what Tampa Bay has done all season, is win close games, fourth quarter execution. That's what the Bucs have been great at. So I don't love this travel spot for Seattle. Off that loss, you go across the country. Like, we're going from one tip of the country to the other with Seattle traveling down to Jacksonville. So I'm leaning towards the Jags here. It's just, I don't love that they are underdogs even at home in this one. It seems a little, I don't know. I would probably price the Jags as favorites here.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is a tough loss for Seattle coming off of that game versus Tampa Bay. I think we need to start having a real conversation about Tampa Bay being a team that can win the entire NFC. I think I'm ready to go there. They're plus 1,100 at BetMGM in a fairly wide open NFC. Like, the over at BetMGM, the leader to win the NFC is the Lions at plus 350. I would never bet that number at 3.5 to 1. Packers are 4.25 to 1. Eagles are an absolute disaster. They're plus 500. Then we're talking about the Niners, who have been dealing with injuries, the Rams, and then it's the Bucs. The Commanders are also right there at plus 1,100. So I like both of those squads, the Commanders and the Bucs, at plus 1,100, over 10 to 1, way before I would look at the Lions. But yeah, the Jags are a really interesting team because Trevor Lawrence is playing better, but continues to turn the ball over. He had a pick in that game against Kansas City where I think it's a consensus that it was pass interference, should have got called. He doesn't throw a pick, and then that would be 2 straight games for Trevor Lawrence without an interception. Take a look at the price coming this week for no interception for Trevor Lawrence. They'll be at home again for a second straight week. And as we saw, Seattle's front is very good. They get tons of pressure, but you can hit them over the top on the back end, just what Tampa Bay was doing in Seattle last week. So take a look at the price. Coming into that Chiefs game at home for Trevor Lawrence, you could get plus 130 on no interception. I saw it as high as plus 136 for no interception. I think that's starting to get a bit mispriced. He's turned it over his entire career, but the last couple weeks, it's been pretty clean football from Trevor Lawrence. And I think the casual folks are going to look at the box score. They're going to see another interception for Trevor Lawrence. He has one every week, essentially, has a ton of turnovers this year, but he's been playing a lot better football. He played really, really well against Kansas City. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to deny what Jacksonville is doing. And even Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner, big guy they went up in a trade to go get, made a big play in that game as well. So, yeah, I love everything Jacksonville is doing. And Liam Cohen, people made fun of him for the Duval thing in the press conference, but he has those boys ready to play. He's not scared. He's chirping with other coaches after the game, keep my name out of your mouth. So I like all that stuff that's going on in Jacksonville.
Yeah, Liam Cohen is someone that we talked about a lot for Coach of the Year prior to the start of the season. Kenny and I both have futures on Jags to win this division, which is looking pretty good. I'm looking at Coach of the Year right now, and Liam Cohen, second favorite behind Shane Steichen, plus 350. So if you jump in on Cohen now, you're not getting a great price. That was significantly better early on or prior to the start of the season, but he's done a really good job there. And now we're going up against the Seahawks defense that has been it's solid. Like Mike McDonald is a defensive minded head coach, and he's got his players ready to go, but their run defense is kind of the bread and butter. Third right now in rushing defense. They're only allowing 83 yards per game, only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns. It's the passing defense that's a little bit softer, as you alluded to, Sean. They're 24th in passing defense. So Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to throw the ball quite a bit on this Seahawks defense. And so along with the interception or lack thereof interception for Trevor Lawrence this weekend, maybe you look at Travis Hunter props, or you look at Thomas Brown Jr. props, something like that, where this passing game is going to continue to evolve for Jacksonville and take advantage of some of those poor passing defense numbers for the Seahawks. And Kenny threw in the chat, the Liam Cohen prior to the start of the season was 14-1, which great price if for anyone. And I know Kenny has a ticket on Coach of the Year for Cohen at that price, so not too shabby.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I like what they're doing. I will say, I do think that's the toughest game on the board to find an edge. There's a lot more games I would look at before I looked at that one. But as I mentioned, at BetMGM, Trevor Lawrence, no interception is plus 105. Man, I would take a look at that. I like that number quite a bit. For him to throw an interception, it's minus 140. I think there's a little bit of, it's not recency bias because he's played a lot cleaner the last couple of weeks, but I just think overall throughout his career, he has turned it over. If they can keep him clean with the holes on the back end of that Seattle defense that got exposed quite a bit, if I'm Liam Cohen, I'm sitting down and I'm watching that film and trying to look for ways to exploit it, just like Tampa Bay did. That they could not stop Emeka Egbuka and Baker that entire game. They were throwing the ball all over the yard. And I think that's some good film that they'll be able to break down and find spots for Trevor Lawrence. Of course, there's always an opportunity where it could be a fluke ball, hit somebody in the helmet, or there's an OPI call like we had last week. But at plus 105, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on Trevor Lawrence not to throw an interception.